Hello, fellow WLSers. This is Steve, Brave New Sleeve, kind of checking in with a latest update. It's been a little around about a week since my last video. It was the first day I had started the blended food diet, and that's going pretty well. One of the difficult things with the blended food diet is, as VSG Brad has, just looking at my notes, VSG Brad was talking about in his latest update, is all the rules that go along with it. With the full liquid diet, basically if it's liquid, you drink it down, you do it throughout the day. It's a little bit easier to plan stuff out. With the mushy foods or blended food diet, you have to first, my doctor said you have to not drink for a half an hour before you eat. When you eat, you can't drink, and a half hour after you eat. So that's a hour and a half of every time you eat. You got to plan before and after, and you can't drink. So whenever you're not eating, you're trying to stay hydrated and drinking, and that is kind of a challenge, just remembering to be drinking all the time, and then, okay, I'm going to be eating in about a half an hour, and let's get that, you got to stop drinking. And I think that half an hour before might be a little bit of a stretch. Sometimes I'll go 15 minutes, because by the time I sit down and start eating and stuff, I think it's okay. The doctor basically said the reason you do that is to make sure your stomach is completely empty when you start filling it with protein, and that way it will digest properly and fill you up. So I am trying to do that, but even in the mornings, that's especially in the mornings, like breakfast, do I get up and have an egg right off, or do I start the day with a nice cup of tea and maybe a protein shake, because those two are liquid? And so that's what I did today. So now I'm after this video, I gotta go cook up an egg real quick, but it's already almost 11 o'clock, but we'll probably be eating. I'm having some friends over to play D&D with my son and his friends. It's a rainy day, last day before I have to go back to work, so should be interesting when I go back to work tomorrow. And I didn't tell anybody about my surgery, but my wife says it's kind of apparent that I've lost some weight over the last 3 weeks, so we'll see what people say. Most of the time people have been supportive, but just at work, I think it's a little different. People start, maybe judge you a little bit more because you're using the health insurance or costing them money. I don't know, but I always get nervous about telling people. It's easy to tell strangers about it, but or acquaintances or friends that that won't judge you, but at work it's a little bit different. But hey, it's what had to be done, and so far, knock on wood, it's working out pretty well. I'm able to eat just about anything that I want as long as it's blenderized. So we've actually gone out to dinner a couple times because we went to Burlington, Vermont for my checkup with the doctor. It was basically like the 3-week checkup where he signed off that I could go back to work. He just walked in and looked at me and asked me a bunch of questions, and everything was like, yep, good, feeling great, no problems. And then he left, and then my nutritionist was basically the same thing, just had some questions, and I just asked her about balancing all the rules of drinking and eating, and I was a little confused between the difference between blended and soft, because scrambled eggs to me seem more soft than blended. So then I had like egg salad, but it was kind of chunky, and my wife was like, you probably should blend that in the blender and get it like to a puree or whatever. And the doctor had said that, or my nutritionist had said, that would be preferable at this stage, is to get it as close to a blended. And she had said, if you're chewing, then it's not blended enough. You should just be able to mash it around with your tongue or whatever, and be able to swallow it down. So that's kind of the rule I've been using. And there have been a couple of meals that I've had to just chew real well before I swallow, but I really haven't had any issues. I've been paying real close attention to the sleeve and making sure I feel full, and then when I do feel full, I'll start to stop. And those are all new sensations to me. I don't really feel the hunger like they talk about. I mean, I do get head hunger. Just happen to drive by a sub shop or a pizza shop that we used to eat at, and I'm like, ooh, kind of have a hankering for one of their, subs, but it's easy to say dismiss, so that's good. But I do notice, like, if I do, and I think I talked about this before, but if I do go a while without eating anything or of substance, or maybe protein, my stomach will start to kind of spasm and contract, and it feels really weird. So I'm like, I better go drink a protein shake or eat a snack or something like that. So that's not too bad. I'll have to see how I plan everything out at work. I'm gonna have to bring a lunchbox full of different choices for me to eat, pre-made. I just wanted to, let me just check my notes here, see what I was writing about. So just the timing of the eating is difficult, and drinking. Well, so far, like I said, I've been very happy with my sleeve. I know a lot of people sometimes feel nauseous when they eat chicken, like Gooch Monster said he couldn't eat chicken at all, but I've been able to eat lots of different things, and really haven't had too many issues, knock on wood, with nauseousness or anything like that. Only if I eat a little bit too quick, but I do eat slow. I have a baby spoon that I use a lot of times, and I use, we have, my kids are older, but we still have the toddler plates with this little sections on them, and I put my meal in each one of them. And I've been just trying everything. My wife had a cookout with the kids. She watches a few kids. She was watching for a friend, and she had a cookout, so I kind of wanted to be part of that. So she had hot dogs on the grill. I took one of those hot dogs and blended it up, basically made a ham salad with it. And I know people were like kind of freaking out about that, saying, oh, that's so gross, but that's the, they were not like super fatty hot dogs. They were reduced fat and everything, so I don't know. And I had a couple scoopfuls, and tasted good. I had cottage cheese and applesauce with it, and it made a nice little picnic. But that's one of the reasons I chose the sleeve, because I do want to be able to eat foods that I like in the future, and just eat them in more reason. Instead of having three hot dogs, which would be my standard before, I'm having maybe a third of a hot dog ground up with a little ketchup on it, and that was fine. And I'm hoping to get more, I'll get more sophisticated food, but to me that was fine. It's not much different than a ham salad. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my NSV progress. I haven't really declared a total victory on anything, because I think it's too close to surgery. It's, like I said, 3 weeks on Monday. But a couple of things, I was really having this operation to take care of some key health issues I was having. Since I was going to the doctor this Friday, I decided to have a cholesterol test. I called them up and said, can you order one for me, and I'll go take it, and then we can review it at the doctor's office, because I haven't been taking my cholesterol pill, because it was a big, large, generic tablet that I was taking, and it made me nervous at first, and then I wasn't taking it. I said, well, maybe I'll just won't take it and see what happens. So my cholesterol, not being on medicine for like 3 weeks, was a total, and not eating much, of course, but it was 160, which is well within normal parameters, whatever you want to call them. So that was pretty good. I still need to review it with my standard doctor, but the doctor there said it, I won't worry about taking your pill, and we'll see what happens as I add food into my diet, if there'll be any kind of issue. But I'm pretty happy with not having to take that. All those things have little side effects, who knows what it does, but I think you start taking, I was taking 4 pills a day before my surgery, and now I want to be down to just taking my heartburn medicine. And maybe the Colace too, because that's another area you don't want to mess around with. So my cholesterol was good. I've been experimenting sleeping without my sleep apnea mask, and I had a lot of trouble with my wife, like sleeping next to her, and the mask would make noise, and she'd have to go sleep in the other room, and blah blah blah. So we've been actually, it's been very successful. I would sleep like halfway through the night, and then I'd put it on, and then I'd ask my wife if she heard me snoring at all, and then last 2-3 days I've just been not even putting it on at all, and ask her if she heard anything. She said very little, maybe just a little bit of heavy breathing and stuff like that. So that's a big win for me. I mean, that's one of the reasons I had done this, so that I can be free of the mask. And I've been having pretty good, easy time getting to sleep. I was worried about, you get used to doing one thing like with the mask, and then you would take it off and I wouldn't be able to get to sleep, but that works out pretty well. My back pain that I was suffering with like every day has really diminished. I don't have any trouble sleeping in the bed. I had to put a whole bunch of cushions before, but now I just have a few of those egg crates or memory foam, and that seems to be working out really well for me, so I'm very excited about that. I did have a little bit of arthritis in my toe. I have arthritis in my feet, but it was just sore one night. It used to take a week for me to get off from, to get over it, but this time it was just like a one-day kind of thing, a little bit of soreness, and then it went away. So I think that helps not having so much pressure on it all the time. I dug out some older clothes and put those on that I had in storage, some summer shorts, and I've basically down one size from what I was previously, from 44 to basically a comfortable 42, so I'm pretty happy with that. And my blood pressure actually has been kind of on the high normal to low pre-hypertension level, so that was pretty good. It was a little high at the doctor's, but I just had gotten a call from the car repair guy saying he wanted to replace my brakes for $600 and stuff like that, and we're trading that car in a couple of months, and at the end of the lease. So I was just kind of irritated with that whole situation, so my blood pressure might have went up a little bit, but it wasn't that bad, just a little bit higher. And let's see here, a couple more things. One, I was going to tell you a little bit the numbers. Usually people start in the beginning, but I just wanted to tell you I'm 5'7", and I originally started out at about 280 pounds. That was last summer, 2013, and this when I started on the diet. And October 4th was my first official diet day on this sleeve journey, whatever you want to call it. And I lost about 30 pounds, give or take, up until my surgery. And I was down to about 250 right before my surgery. Now, today, I'm actually in the 220s, 229.8, but still in the 220s. So I lost about 20 pounds post-op, about 50 pounds overall, if my calculations are right. I still have a long ways to go. Looking at those charts, I originally thought I was going to be shooting for like 177, sticking with my 7 theme, because I was sleeved on the 7.7, so I thought that would be cool to shoot for that. But then looking at the charts of BMI, I would actually still be overweight, so I guess I got to go down to like 167 or something like that. So I'll worry about that when I get to it, but 177 still sounds like a good first goal, and then try to get down a little bit further and see how things go. But most of my goals were for the medical part of it, trying to get that all straightened out. Just as an aside, we went to the casino when my mother brought her for her birthday, and I tried to play 7 as often as I could on the roulette table, and it worked out pretty well, so we doubled our money eventually. Got to play for a couple of hours, so that was pretty fun up at the Akwesasne Casino here in northern New York. I wanted to give a couple shout-outs to VSG Brad. Looks like you're doing pretty well. Very similar journeys, I think, that we're having, although I seem to be able to eat a little more freely than you seem to have. I think you were saying you had some issues with eating certain things and keeping hydrated, but seem to be okay with that. But and good luck, VSG Gary, who is starting his liquid diet, pre-op diet, which is supposed to be the hardest part of this journey, and it definitely was one of the harder parts. But you get through it. It's a matter of just routine, and get into a routine. Make sure you get stuff that you like. Try that Rocket Refuel from Shamrock Farms. Those shakes are great. And then VSG Bobby, actually, I saw him on Facebook, and he was doing a parasailing, and that was one of the things when I talked to my daughter about having weight loss surgery, was that I wanted to be able to do more fun things with her, because I was really restricted because of my weight. You know, a lot of things, you're over 220, 250, you know, you can't do any of these rides and things like that. So my daughter had said, you know, I'd love to try parasailing and do different rides, and I want you to go with me. And I would always say, well, I don't think I can, and I thought it would hurt too much because of my weight. But now that I'm getting lower, I should be able to do those things. And I just saw that VSG Bobby was in Lake George, and that's the place we would go because we're only about an hour and a half north of there, to do a parasailing trip. I don't know if we're going to make it this summer, but definitely sometime in the future we'll get, my daughter and I will do that, and that'll be a maybe for my goal weight by next year or something. So that I thought was pretty cool, that somebody from the community was close by doing something that I plan on doing. And I guess the last thing, you know, one of the you probably saw my updated Facebook if you happen to follow me on Facebook, Brave New Sleeve. And I actually went and tried on some motorcycles. I've always wanted to, you know, I used to ride, you know, mopeds and stuff when I was in high school, and dirt bikes and things like that. And then it seems like for years now I've always wanted to try to ride a motorcycle, but, you know, being heavier, I always said if I ever lost the weight, I would reward myself by getting a motorcycle. So I said, what the heck, I'll go try them on, and took some pictures. I went with my son, and we tried on little 250. You know, I say try it on because it's just amazing how different each bike feels. And I wanted kind of a small one. Thought about a scooter. Got on those things, just feel really odd to me. And I sat on a Yamaha 250, and that just felt really comfortable. And I just really was very excited about that. And took some pictures, which I admit looked pretty good. I had lost some weight, and I thought I looked pretty cool, so I sent them to my wife, put them on Facebook, and we're negotiating right now about that. I'm not sure what we're going to do about it. I might just take the class. There's a motorcycle safety class that would be fun to take. That would almost be like a camp for me, because I'd get to try 2 days riding motorcycles, and then you get your license at the end. I think, you know, that could be a step in doing that. I don't know, just something I've always wanted to try, and now I feel like I'm able to do it. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well with their journey, and I wish the best of luck to everyone, and I'll see you on the tube. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.